There was a time when schools smelled of chalk dust, wooden desks creaked with age, and the teacher's footsteps alone could silence a room. Before smartphones, before timeouts, and parent-teacher conferences, discipline had a different meaning. Today, we're opening the Rewind Vault to uncover 10 school punishments that would be banned today, the kind that shaped generations, sparked fear, and now seem almost unbelievable. If you love nostalgic deep dives like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Rewind Vault, where every episode brings the past back to life. 1. The Dunce Cap. Humiliation as a lesson. It's hard to imagine today, but once upon a time, failure had a shape, and it looked like a cone. The dunce cap was a tall, pointed paper hat placed on the head of students who misbehaved or gave a wrong answer. They'd sit in the corner while the rest of the class watched, silently learning what not to be. The idea began in the 1800s as a way to correct ignorance, but all it really taught was embarrassment. By the 1950s, educators finally realized that shame doesn't inspire learning. It crushes it. The dunce cap quietly disappeared, becoming a symbol of outdated cruelty. 2. The principal's paddle, pain for discipline. For decades, every principal's office had a terrifying artifact, the paddle. Carved from thick wood sometimes with holes drilled in it for speed, this tool turned school discipline into a public ritual. A few swats on the backside were believed to build character, and some parents even approved. But by the 1980s, lawsuits, psychology, and changing views on child welfare brought the paddle era to an end. Today, most schools have replaced it with counseling, reflection, and thankfully, zero wooden boards. 3. Wash your mouth out with soap. Long before detention slips, there was a different kind of warning, a bar of soap. If a student cursed, talked back, or used improper language, a teacher or parent might literally scrub the lesson in. Ivory soap was the classic choice. It foamed fast, tasted awful, and left an impression that outlasted the punishment. Health officials eventually banned the practice, calling it dangerous and humiliating. But for anyone who lived it, that soapy taste is something they'll never forget. 4. Writing lines, the endless repetition. I will not talk in class. I will not throw paper airplanes. I will not daydream. Some kids wrote those sentences hundreds of times on chalkboards until their hands cramped. The goal wasn't pain, it was monotony. Teachers believed repetition drilled responsibility into the brain. By the 1970s, though, writing lines was mostly seen as a time waster, replaced by detentions or reflective essays. Still, the sound of chalk scratching those same words over and over remains an unforgettable echo from the past. 5. Standing in the corner, silent isolation. Before timeouts had a friendly name, misbehaving students were sent to the corner. No talking, no sitting, just staring at the wall while the rest of the class continued their lessons. Every second stretched like eternity, and everyone knew exactly why you were there. It wasn't painful, but it was pure psychological warfare. Eventually, schools swapped the wall of shame for gentler reflection periods, but for generations of kids, that corner might as well have been a spotlight. 6. The ruler's wrath. The classic knuckle tap. Every old classroom had a wooden ruler. It wasn't just for measuring, it was for discipline. A sharp crack across the knuckles or palms sent a message faster than words could. Some teachers swore by it, quick, clean, and effective. Others feared it crossed the line between correction and cruelty. By the 1970s, most schools outlawed corporal punishment altogether. Still, the faint echo of whack across a silent classroom remains one of education's most haunting sounds. 7. Pinning by the hair. Cruelty in plain sight. It sounds barbaric, but it happened. A girl could be forced to stand on tiptoe while a strand of her hair was pinned to the wall. If she moved, the tug reminded her to stay perfectly still. This shocking form of punishment, used mostly in the early 1900s, was meant to teach discipline. In reality, it was humiliation disguised as order. Thankfully, this cruel tactic vanished mid-century as schools began to view children not as troublemakers, but as learners. 8. The Boyish Bonnet, embarrassment in disguise. In old one-room schoolhouses, teachers often turned shame into spectacle. A mischievous boy might be made to wear a lace bonnet or sit among the girls as punishment for mischief. It might sound humorous now, but at the time it was mortifying. This punishment blurred the lines between humor and humiliation, and by the mid-20th century it disappeared completely, partly because schools finally outgrew the idea that ridicule was an educational tool. 9. The switch or strap. When nature became the weapon, before rulers and paddles, there was something even simpler. A switch, a thin tree branch freshly cut for the job. Teachers used it to deliver quick, stinging reminders of authority. Some preferred a leather strap instead, a relic from frontier days. Both left marks that lingered longer than lessons. By the 1980s, lawsuits and education reforms ended the practice in most places, turning the switch from a tool of discipline into a symbol of a harsh past. 10. Chore punishments. Learning through labor. Not every punishment involved pain, some involved work. A troublemaker might scrub blackboards, wash windows, or mop hallways while classmates went home. It was meant to teach responsibility, and in a strange way, it often did. Some schools even required kids to clean the bathrooms, sometimes with toothbrushes. Eventually, these punishments evolved into what we now call detention, where reflection replaced scrubbing. Still, many former students say those quiet after-school hours with a bucket and a brush taught lessons no textbook ever could. Discipline in schools has come a long way. What once seemed normal now feels unthinkable. But each of these punishments, harsh, strange, or downright cruel, tells us something important about the times they came from. They remind us that education was never just about math or grammar. It was about molding character, often through fear and sometimes through kindness. So, which of these old school punishments do you remember or can't believe actually happened? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go hit that like button, subscribe to the Rewind Vault, and ring the bell icon so you never miss another journey back through time. Because here, history doesn't just repeat, it teaches.